We're going to take a journey. It's a journey down the road to profitable growth. Now, here at Cranfield, we've got a lot of experience of working with successful companies. Today in the studio, we've got David Molian. Now, David, you've worked with a lot of successful companies. You've gone along this journey with a lot of particularly small companies. You've got 10 milestones. The first one that I'm going to have a look at is passion is power. Now, that sounds a strange one from a hard-headed business person.
Well, look at it this way, Steve. If you're going to build a successful business, you're going to run a marathon rather than a sprint. And periodically, you're going to have to re-energize yourself. So maintaining your passion for the business and your energy is extremely important.
The second milestone is become a strategist. Aren't we all strategists?
I guess we'd all like to think we are. But when you're running your own business, it's quite a hard thing to do because you get caught in all the day-to-day stuff. So we've developed a lot of techniques and approaches that help owner-managers spend more time working on the business, developing a new strategy for a new business, and taking them out of the day-to-day stuff that otherwise will bog them down.
Now, you can also get bogged down so you don't know where you're going, which is the third point. Would you like to say a bit about that?
Well, absolutely. Again, if you're going to run a marathon, you want to run it in the right direction. If you don't know where you're going, you're going to end up somewhere else. So putting down on paper clearly and concisely, and then articulating that to the team of people who are working for you is incredibly important.
The next milestone is stick to the knitting. Now, that's almost like saying, hang on a minute, shouldn't small companies be looking out for good ideas, new ways forward?
Well, I'm not saying never innovate, and I'm not saying never look for new customers. But all the evidence we have suggests that most successful small businesses, most of the time, will do so by identifying a profitable niche in which they can excel. So they will sell more of what they're currently doing to their existing customers and finding other people who are like them.
The next milestone is know your enemy. Now, that sounds like absolute common sense, really. Say some more about that.
It does, but it needs to be systematic. So it needs to be a formal process where the competitor activities are under constant review. And I think the other point I want to make is also that the real high flyers benchmark themselves not just against the competitors in the league in which they play, but they look at the next division up and they benchmark their performance against the companies they aspire to be rather than the business which they are today.
Now, I guess it's very tempting along this route to go for growth, but one of your points is watch the pennies.
Absolutely. There's an old saying that turnover is vanity, profit is sanity, but cash flow is reality. And so my advice is always, while turnover is important, the real levers to growth that you need to pull on are margins and cash flow. And these things always need to be at the forefront of your mind.
Now, we talked about growth. One of your maxims is grow up.
Absolutely. The business that you start in year 0 won't look the same in year 5. It's exactly like a person. It goes through a phase of maturing. So you as the business owner have to accept that the processes, the systems, the structures, the way in which you lead and manage the business are going to change and develop. And you have to be open to that process of change and development if you want to take the business up to the next level.
Now, tell me how that relates to people, because one of your next milestones is it's all about people.
It is all about the people. It's the people who will deliver the results for you. And it's the people that will allow the business to become independent of you as the owner-manager. So finding, retaining and motivating the talent that you need for the business is absolutely key. And what we find is that those businesses that do it successfully spend a lot of time nurturing that talent and mentoring and ensuring that they are given the opportunity to flourish and succeed.
And yet one of the next points you make is it's down to you. Now, that sounds a contradiction.
It's not so much a contradiction. It's just making people understand that if you own and manage the business, you're both its greatest asset and potentially its greatest liability. So if you're not capable of change and development, you will set a ceiling on the ability of that business to grow. And one of the fundamental things about changing and developing is the ability to let go and to empower the team that's going to deliver the results for you.
And that brings us to the last point, which is work smarter, not harder.
Absolutely. Most of those people I know who've built successful businesses are not working 70 hours a week. They're actually working 30 or 35 hours a week. They've learned to let go. They've learned to stop interfering and meddling in the day-to-day stuff. They've learned to empower their teams, and actually they achieve a better work-life balance as a result.
David, there's some very useful reminders there. Thank you very much.
Pleasure.